this morning I want to put a slightly different spin on things, and rather than talking about all the negatives surrounding Manchester United, it's time to talk about a positive problem, and a problem which Ten Hag probably now faces for the first time this season, and that is the fact that in midfield he's got a bit of a selection dilemma. Now, not because everyone's out injured, but actually because he's got a few options. For example, Casemiro, Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, and I think I missed one there as well, Hannibal Mejbri, for example. There is a real selection dilemma currently facing the club, and I think that's a good thing for Ten Hag to have. What he needs to find now is his three midfielders which he thinks is best to lead this team forward. Now, what does he need in his midfield? Well, in my opinion, United need to find their closest thing to a press-resistant midfielder. I also think United need to secure their ball retention in midfield rather than giving away so much. I think the ability to carry the ball forward could be useful, forward passing will be useful, and of course creativity in the final third. Out of possession, a bit of physicality would be nice, a bit of mobility, but also that work rate and that energy to cover a lot of ground. So let's try and look at who kind of fits and what sort of midfield we can construct. So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order. So realistically, I think it comes down to four main players. I don't think Scott McTominay will be in the starting 11. I don't think Hannibal will be on a regular basis just yet. And I also don't think Ten Hag trusts the lack of athleticism with Christian Eriksen, which leaves us with these four here. Now, these are four Data MB reports, and you can check out Data MB using the link in the description. But this is for Mason Mount, this is for Bruno Fernandes, this is for Sofyan Amrabat, that's the other player I missed, and also Casemiro. Now, what you can see here is that we've got a bit of a jumble of profiles. I'm not going to talk about which player is each specific one, but you can see there's not really matching profiles. Compare, for example, the blue graph compared to the green one. These are completely different players. So we need to try and construct a real balance to the side. Now, quite an easy solution for Erik ten Hag to make sure he gets all four profiles in the team is to use one either as a fullback or one as a winger. For example, as we've seen already this season, Amrabat can play at left back, and we could see something like this. This allows you to get all four players on the pitch. There's definitely potential for that. The other option is to move one of them out wide. For example, we've seen already this season, Bruno Fernandes playing on the wing. Now, once again, this allows you to get all four players into the side. However, for the dynamics of Manchester United and what they're doing currently, I personally think that we need to see a winger in wide positions and we need to see fullbacks in fullback positions, which means Ten Hag needs to break it down into just three central midfielders. Now, realistically, with the players currently available to Erik ten Hag, I would expect United to continue building possession in a back three. If Reguilon is back by injury, as we expect, he will want to fly forward down the left-hand side, allowing Rashford to come inside. We've then got Lindelof, Rafael Varane and Dalot will most likely form a back three. Now what we need is a double pivot, because that tends to be the go-to shape. It occasionally changes to a single pivot, but more often than not it is a double pivot. Now on paper, Casemiro and Sofyan Amrabat playing as two deeper players seems to make the most sense, which then means that you have Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes competing for one spot. Now when you look at the rest of the starting 11, I see a lack of creativity in this side, which means we need to start Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount comes out of the team. So, on paper initially, this looks like the obvious solution. Like I said, I think Sofyan Amrabat has to be in there for his ball retention skills, and I think Bruno Fernandes has to be in there for his creativity. So, is this the way forward for United? Well, truthfully, in my opinion, it isn't, and the main problem that we have here is that Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro are on the same pitch for the same side. Now, why is that a problem? They're obviously both very good footballers, very experienced players, they've won a lot of trophies in their career, both very good talents individually. However, when you get the two of them on the same pitch, particularly combined with someone like Marcus Rashford and also Erasmus Højlund up top, you get a side which loses the ball a lot, and I just don't think at the moment in their current play styles that Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes can be in the same team, which means that one of them has to go. We have to see better ball retention in the side. So the question now is Casemiro versus Bruno Fernandes. Who do you keep? We're going to bring Mason Mount in for one of them. Who do you keep out of these two? Well, with Bruno Fernandes, you get excellent creativity in the final third, you get goal-scoring output, and we know the energy which he brings to the side. He's also extremely mobile and extremely hard working. However, he does give the ball away a lot. In Casemiro, you've got a real physical presence in the side, someone who's very good in both boxes, and also a real leader on the pitch, and United's top scorer so far this season. However, a bit like Bruno Fernandes, he does give the ball away far too much for my liking. So, we're looking at the lesser of two evils here, basically. I don't think either of them are actually perfect for the role they're currently being asked to play. So what's the lesser of two evils? In my opinion, for Manchester United to move forward and go to the next level as a football club and as a football team on the pitch, to improve defensively but also offensively, United have to keep the ball more. Now, how do United keep the ball more? By getting better retentive players in deeper areas. So, in my opinion, and you might disagree, if so, get in the comments down below, in a respectful manner, let me know why you disagree. But in my opinion, I would take Casemiro out and I would put Mason Mount into the side. And the reason for this is because I think it solves a few problems. Now, when we look at this midfield three of Sofian Amrabat, Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes, the first thing which comes clear to me is we have three players who suit every single rotation which Erik ten Hag asks for from his midfielders. For example, with Mason Mount, he's happy to overlap down the wide left, he's happy to drop into deep left positions, run forward, get on the ball in central areas, and the same from Bruno Fernandes, while Sofian Amrabat is more of your pivot in the middle who keeps things ticking over. So that is the first positive. I also think in Sofian Amrabat and Mason Mount, and for me this is the most important thing, you get better ball retention. Now, that isn't necessarily Mason Mount's natural game because he's always been a bit more of a forward player. However, I think the project for Ten Hag is to coach this guy into a midfielder which drops deep, keeps the ball and controls things much more. And whilst it isn't his speciality yet, I do think he's better than Casemiro in this department. One of the reasons for that is because he is much better at scanning his surroundings before he receives the ball, meaning he knows which direction he needs to turn in. And that's an important factor in this United side. It's not just about keeping the ball with your passing, which Sofian Amrabat definitely brings, but also keeping the ball under pressure. And again, I think these two are more suited to that. I also think they are the two best ball-carrying midfielders that United have out of the four which we're kind of listing as the ones which Ten Hag is most likely to choose from. Granted, again, someone like Hannibal could do it, but I think these are the players we are really choosing from when it comes to the biggest games for Manchester United. But importantly, what we also get with these two is progressive passing, and I think Sofian Amrabat in particular is really important for that. We know that Mason Mount is quite expressive in the way that he plays, but Sofian Amrabat is also very progressive in nature. And the best thing about this is that he's progressive but also retains the ball. Casemiro, for example, is a very progressive midfielder but loses the ball a lot. Amrabat is progressive whilst also keeping the ball for his side, and I think that is something which United desperately need to go to the next level. It's that ability to maintain tempo, with Mason Mount occasionally dropping in to get the ball and carry the ball forward, but it's about keeping the ball for United whilst also making sure that you progress the ball into the final third. I also think that this sort of system and these personnel would see better relationships developed between certain players. For example, Manchester United in the opening weeks, when they had Rafael Varane, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Casemiro down the right hand side, there was a problem there in possession. Whereas if we bring Dalot and Amrabat into the side, it's much more comfortable, much more technical on the ball. Also, down the left-hand side, we now have a better dynamic. The other week, the problem that Rashford had was that he was being supported by Victor Lindelof and Sofian Amrabat in the final third. A centre-back and a holding midfielder, not exactly ideal. Whereas with someone like Reguilon bombing forward, overlapping, that's much more natural, and it suits Marcus Rashford's game, but also Mason Mount has the ability to join these guys in these areas. And of course, it gives United the potential to rotate to more of a 3-4-3 diamond shape, with Marcus Rashford given a bit more of a free roam. I just think this link up down the left-hand side would be much better than what we've seen in recent weeks, but also Bruno Fernandes down the right-hand side, helping out whoever the main natural winger may be. It might be Antony, it might be Garnacho, or it might be Facundo Pellistri. The whole idea is, though, that you're getting natural wide players who hold the width for the side. This better shape, this better system, and these better understandings and link-ups in the final third should see to a natural increase in creativity and productivity in the final third of the pitch, meaning more chances created for Rasmus Højlund and hopefully more goals. But importantly, I think this side can be good from a defensive point of view as well, because I think in the midfield here, you've got some players who naturally want to counter-press. All over the pitch, really. Rasmus Højlund wants to do it, Antony wants to do it, Bruno Fernandes wants to do it, Reguilon likes to do it from left back, he likes to be quite aggressive on that first touch, Mason Mount is a good counter-presser, and also Sofian Amrabat. But importantly, what we've also got in here is some players which can win their duels. Now, to be fair, it is lacking a bit of physicality still, and I still think a big, strong side would kind of breeze through this midfield. But United have been having that issue anyway. People would say we need Casemiro in there for his size against powerful dribblers. Casemiro himself has struggled against powerful dribblers. At least with these three, you get a lot of mobility, you get much better stamina, you get much better work rate, and an ability to cover the pitch much quicker than what Casemiro does. So even if they do lose the dribble, at least players like Mason Mount are able and willing to get back into these areas to help out. So I think it would improve United from a defensive point of view. Now again, I don't actually think that this is perfect. I still think you're missing a profile or two in there. There isn't a true press-resistant midfielder in there, and there also isn't a proper destructive player in there to break up possession for the opposition. However, with what United have currently got, I do think this is the best solution. Now, quite an exciting thing is that Ten Hag does have choices. Christian Eriksen could come into the side. Casemiro definitely still has a place in his team because he is such a good player. Hannibal Mejbri, and also the returning Kobe Mainu to come soon. But in terms of right now what we currently have, I think this is the best option. And we might just see it because Casemiro reportedly has an injury. Now again, on Casemiro, I'm not saying he's a terrible footballer. I think he's still an absolutely brilliant player. But he's really struggling at the moment with a few different things. He seems to be struggling with his fitness levels, and he's having a poor patch of form. So maybe just to spell out the first team might help him get back to his best. Because if he can get back to his best, then that is a brilliant asset for Manchester United. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is how I would like to see United lining up in their midfield. And I think it gives United the best balance in terms of their current starting 11. Of course, hopefully we will see Harry Maguire over someone like Victor Lindelof. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And also subscribe to the channel. As soon as we hit 20k, you guys can become members, meaning you get custom badges to show your loyalty, but also custom emoji packs, which you guys can use in chat and also in live stream. Plus, we're upgrading the channel in terms of camera and also background. So make sure to subscribe. We have notifications on, but apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.